Thank you. Let's see, I have an hour? Shucks. I think it's very short. I remember, there's a couple of things I remember, and one was coming up on my second or final interview. My wife Suzanne's here, by the way. Can you stand up so people can see you? And we drove up the driveway, and I won't mention people, but there was a little bit of picketing going on in the front of the board offices at this time. I am a firm believer that you really have to study the past of this district like you study the past of anything. There's that statement, if you don't study the history, you repeat it. And I remember driving up the driveway, and we see these kids picketing from the high school in the middle of the day. And Suzanne says to me, she goes, are you sure you want to come here? I mean, that was the time. And for the folks that were on the committee at that time, those that were here in 2004, the fact of the matter is that was a very dark time for this district. And some people, even I think today and yesterday, had talked to me about why I took the job. And there's a lot of reasons not to have taken the job if you study the history. But when I sat down and had a conversation with the Board of Education and from the folks from the community, I actually felt sorry for them because it was one person. One person who acted badly, and unfortunately, the whole community was tainted because of that one person. And what a sad situation to be in because of one individual. And that's actually one of the reasons I did take the job, because I felt that the folks that I had talked to, when they talked about Middletown, they talked about it with a lot of pride. And they almost were afraid to talk and say that they were from Middletown because of that one person again. The collateral associated with that, and then that one person turned into maybe two or three more after Rich and I and a few others started looking into what was going on. But the fact of the matter is, one, the only reason I'm standing here is because I've been your superintendent for 14 years. The real heroes of what happened here over the last 14 years are the people who implemented all the programs and worked very hard with the kids. Not only that, the community. And I will tell you that some of the most important people out of the community came from a group called the GET Group. And most of you that have been here know what that is. That's the group of parents, community members that came and, for a better term, saved this district. So it's not about me. I'm the figurehead. Yes, I accept that. The fact of the matter is the team did it. The implementers that worked hard with the kids did it. And as I said to the administrators a week or so ago, I said, everybody moves on at some time because we all grow and we move to a different slot. But for this community, I plead with this community, protect this district. You had a gem 14 years ago. All it had to do was be polished. The folks here have polished that gem. This community really needs to protect these kids. And it's up to you to continue that. Not me. I can be replaced, as you can see. But the kids can't be. And if you see the kids that are graduating now and you go in and talk with those kids now, if you see the kids in our elementary school, and I'll tell you a story, now that I have this podium, I can keep talking. I learned from the best, Rich. Notice I'm holding my hands here, though. The story was when we opened this building, Senator Schumer came to open this building. And that was very unique because this guy's, he's a very powerful man. He's a very active man. He's busy. He's got a lot of things, but he came to the opening of this. What he did, though, is he also visited our classrooms. And he went into one classroom, and, when I watched the senator, I always thought, he's kind of an old, grudgy kind of guy, because he has to be tough, right? And so I kind of was protecting that and making sure everything was taken care of. So I turn around, and the next thing I know, I turn back. He's sitting on the floor with these kids, interacting with them. Now think of that. You see him on television all the time going after the president, right? Senator Schumer, sitting on the floor with these kids, these little kids from the elementary school here, interacting with them, and guess what? He would have gotten a 4 on his evaluation because they were engaged. They were truly engaged. Interestingly enough, he gets up, we start walking down the hallway back to where the ceremony was, and he asked me a couple of questions. One was about John King, and I won't tell you what I said. But then he said to me, he says, those were amazing kids. He said, what are they, 3rd or 4th grade? I go, no, they were kindergartners. He goes, what? And he goes, oh, so were they your accelerated kindergartners? No, they were the special ed. He stopped his tracks in the hallway. He said, this school district is doing amazing things with our kids. Now think about that statement. He spent 5 minutes, and then he proceeded to tell me exactly what these kids were supposed to do, which is tell them not just what are you doing, but why are you doing it? Special ed, kindergarten kids can articulate why they were doing it. Because of you, the teachers here, the staff here, everybody. And if anything I wanted to do today was to plead with you and this community. And that's important, this community. Keep this gem polished. Don't let it get away from you again. Don't let the politics of things enter in to what should be education focused, what's best for kids, not what's best necessarily for adults. It's the kids that are at the focus of this. And that's all I have. I had a friend of mine 14 years ago that said, when you've been successful when you walk away and you look back and it's still standing. I've walked away once and I turned around and it's no longer standing. And that hurts. Not just me. It hurts to know all the kids that aren't succeeding at the same levels as what were in the past. You know how these kids are doing. And you can make a judgment call about politics entering into decisions, whether it's who to hire for political reasons, whether it's what's being taught for political reasons instead of what's best for kids. These kids need every second of instruction. And they need for the staff to be on every second. And they are, and that's why we've closed the gaps. One of the reasons why I really wanted and felt comfortable leaving was what happened last fall when we did the data on our graduates. And we found that the 2016 cohort had 89% graduation. That's cool, from 51%. But all the gaps between the ethnicities, all the gaps between the kids of free and reduced lunch and those that were not, had been erased. Not decreased, erased. Which means that every child that comes to school and learns in our schools learned equally well. You show me another high needs, high minority district that's eliminated the gap. This district has done something extremely special. Extremely special. It's not even showing up that much in the research. And I go back, you have a gem. You had a gem, you have a gem again. It's polished and ready to go. But the gem is really about the kids. All kids learning equally well. Not for political reasons, not by political appointees, etc. It's what's best for kids. And I plead for you, as I walk away, to have another journey, that you take care of the district. It's up to you. So thank you for the opportunity to work here for 14 years. Thank you for the opportunity to work with a staff that has blown the socks off everything that everybody said couldn't be done. And yes, I do feel good because being the superintendent, that gets reflected back on me, but I consistently reflect it back to where it belongs, which is you, both instructional staff, non-instructional staff, administrative staff, community. And remember, this is our community. The community has to take care of this school district, right? Not just the school district. So, for a better term, I remember Red Skelton at the end of his shows. What are you laughing about, Sue? What did he say? Good night and God bless, right? But the long and short of it is, really, those are perfect statements as I go away, because you're going to need a lot of guidance and you're going to need a lot of support. And this Board of Education has done wonderful things over the last 14 years. And for those who have been here in 2014, did you ever think in that time we would have a district that performs like this with everything that we have here? Mm-mm. It's because of this community. Never lost a budget, never lost a referendum. The public came out and supported us even at some of the toughest times. Boy, I won't say it was a lot of fun all the time, but you never know what you can do until you've been challenged. You guys were challenged in 2004, and look at what you did. You beat it. You beat it down to a pulp, and you went all the way 180 degrees to the opposite side. So stay there. And again, thank you very much for the opportunity. I love my staff. That's how I look at them. They were doing wonderful things. This community's done wonderful things. I see people in this audience that have been so good to me and this school district, and I appreciate everything you've done. So have a great future. Good luck.